everyone for joining us here today. We have our City of Pittsburgh and Urban Redevelopment Authority officials here today to present the Beltzhoover Consensus Group and the Beltzhoover community with a $72,000 funding through the Neighborhood Initiatives Program. We will have our speakers talk a little bit more about that, but I'd like to introduce who we have here today. We have, excuse me, Mayor William Peduto from the City of Pittsburgh, Deputy Executive Director Diamante Walker of the Urban Redevelopment Authority. We have our Chief Economic Development Officer, Marty Lamar. We have Councilman Bruce Kraus from District 3 City Council. And we have Jennifer Cash-Wade here on behalf of the Beltzhoover Consensus Group. So I'd like to invite Councilman Kraus up to kick us off.
Oh my God, I might have to catch my breath for a minute. So, what a day. I'm beyond excited. We started this journey about, I want to say 3 years ago now. I remember speaking to the school board, and they said that the Beltzhoover School was up for sale, and they were looking for a buyer. And I remember speaking with Dr. Wilson and Jennifer about the possibilities of assuming ownership of this building. And it was a bit of an odd conversation because it's not like you get up one day and do your to-do list and go, groceries, put gas in the car, drop off dry cleaning, buy the Beltzhoover School. It was a massive undertaking, and it took a lot of courage on the part of many, many people to see the wisdom and the vision of restoring this historic landmark. And what started us really on this journey of considering should we undertake this project was that the more that we got around to talk to the residents of Beltzhoover, there wasn't a single person that I spoke with that did not have a story to tell about this building and what this building meant to the community. Anchors, like your churches and your schools, are amazingly important to neighborhoods like Beltzhoover and other hilltop neighborhoods. And when you lose them, you lose that structure in the neighborhood that's so very important. And so we started on this journey to figure out if there was possibly a way to buy the building. And we went back and forth, I don't know how many times. One day we were, one day we weren't, one day we were, one day we weren't. And I truly believe this. Jennifer says this, Dr. Wilson says this, and I believe it. God guides our footsteps. And there are greater plans and greater purposes in life. And if we stay out of our own way and just listen to the wisdom of the universe, it will guide us. And so we took the plunge, we bought the school, and then we were like, oh my God, now what do we do? I mean, we own this magnificent building. And now the journey really began, and how do we assemble partnerships and friendships and people that understand the wisdom and the vision that we see? Because this is more than a building. It's brick and mortar, but it has a history of connection and community and stories that have been told and stories untold that yet remain to be told. And to let it just sort of sit here and decline simply wasn't an option. We had to intervene and we had to do it. So we bought the school and we started about building our partnerships. Mayor Peduto, the URA with Diamante Walker. Where is Chief Lamar? Chief Lamar. We built our friendships within the community. We brought people along that perhaps maybe didn't quite see the vision. And over 2 or so years-ish, we built this amazing coalition of partnerships that have brought us to this moment in time. You know, I was thinking this morning, you know, we started about here And today we're going to get to about here. And we know the goal is to get to about here, but we're on our way. We're clearly on our way. The Heinz Foundation, Birmingham Foundation, jumped on immediately when we went to meet with them because they saw the vision and the wisdom in the project. So today is the first step of many steps, but we are on the road to recovery, and it is only a matter of time. Jennifer and I joke about retiring in here and spending our latter years in here. So we're already talking about furniture placement in the hallways and what it will look like to socialize. And so we're a little ahead of ourselves, but that's not really a crazy idea. So with that, I am going to introduce Jennifer Cash-Wade to talk a little bit about our journey and how we got here today. So Jennifer, come on up.
Thank you, Councilman Kraus. What a glorious, wonderful, beautiful day. This truly is the day that the Lord has made, and we are here to rejoice and be glad in it. We are rejoicing for the purpose because of the purpose that we're here, and that purpose is to refurbish, redevelop, restore our beloved Beltzhoover Elementary School and restore it into a magnificent structure. It already is, but restore it for a purpose that will benefit our entire community as well as the Hilltop. We're really, really excited about it. Now, Bruce Kraus has stole a lot of the things I was going to say, so please, bear with me if I am repeating things. Nothing is ever done in a vacuum. First of all, the Beltzhoover Consensus Group, we are a force to be reckoned with. So, community, let's get ready. Let's, keep our eyes and ears open for what is to come. The Consensus Group consists of individual organizations, or I should say nonprofits, some just community groups, that we have come together recognizing that there is strength in number and that we can do far more as a united force than we can do as individual organizations. So we are working together. This is our first major undertaking, and we will see it through. It will be something that will be talked about from here until eternity. Some of our outside partners have been absolutely Councilman Kraus. He was on board from day one. He never wavered. He never gave up. When I thought, oh my goodness, what have I gotten myself into? And I would call Dr. Wilson, Dr. Wilson, what in the world are we doing? This is much too big for us. But there was always a little something, and we know it was the voice of God telling us that no, it isn't. This can be done. There was also Bruce Kraus encouraging us and providing whatever assistance we needed in whatever way. And he was the one that opened many, many doors. He opened the door to the Heinz Foundation. We have developed a partnership with Neighborhood Allies. Stephanie Cherney and Kate Lee have been just totally, totally wonderfully supportive of this entire thing. We obviously cannot forget the URA. There's just nothing to be said about Ms. Diamante Walker. She is just beyond belief, and we are so, so very pleased and proud to be able to work with her. We are so proud that the URA saw fit to give her the position that she now holds because she is a resource to all communities. Mr. Lamar, who just came into the city, came to view the building, was on board immediately, loved it, has the ability to continue to help us move it along. We are grateful to him. Mr. Tom Hardy of Palo Alto, who Rob Stephanie of the Heinz Endowments introduced us. Well, I already knew Tom, but Rob, we had a meeting that Bruce called, and immediately following the meeting, Rob got on the phone to Tom because he knew that we needed help. We're volunteers. We didn't have the background needed to pull something like this off. We have the desire, we have the drive, we have the stamina, and we have the passion, but we needed the know-how. So Tom came on board, and he is the reason that we are receiving this award today. And quite honestly, we are just very, very pleased that our mayor was able to attend and that he thought it important enough to come here. And I hope that everyone now realizes that, yes, Beltzhoover does exist. Beltzhoover is alive and well. Beltzhoover is full of many, many, many good, highly intelligent, well-doing people. And so it may be a small step for the city, but this is an enormous step for Beltzhoover, and it is the first of many that we will continue to push forward, build on this, and we will revitalize our community and bring it back to what it once was and what we know it can become again. Thank you. God bless you. And it is now my pleasure and my distinct honor to bring to the podium the Deputy Executive Director of the URA, Ms. Diamante Walker.
Good afternoon, everybody. Can we really quickly give another round of applause for Jennifer Cash-Wade and the Beltzhoover Consensus Group? Just amazing, amazing work. So very excited to be here today as we talk about how we take the next steps toward bringing life back to this amazing building. And so it's, funny listening to Councilman Kraus and Jennifer talk about the evolution of acquiring the building, because what I'm thinking about is the moment at the URA right around the same time where we started rethinking how we were going to invest in neighborhoods. When I got to the URA, I had a very clear mandate from my boss's boss's boss, the Honorable Mayor Bill Peduto, to start rethinking how we're investing and how can we do it by putting community first and making that a priority. And not only making that a priority from an engagement perspective, but also thinking about after engagement comes action. So it's not enough to come out here and talk to the consensus group and hear their vision and say, oh, that's great, that's good. I've got to go back to the URA and figure out how we're going to resource it, how we're going to partner, and how we're going to build on some of that know-how and that passion to bring this to fruition. So with that, in 2018, we started rethinking how we invest. And so the Neighborhood Initiatives Fund is something that I fought very hard for because I believed that there was a better way to take the money that the city was investing in the URA and to deploy that to communities, not based on what we thought was best for communities, but what communities believe are best for communities. And so we reached a moment where the Beltzhoover community said, this is our anchor, this is our emblem of hope, and we want to revitalize this building. Diamante, how are you going to help support do that? And so Bruce Kraus called me to his office and said, we had a strategy session, and he's like, walk me through it. How do we get from point A to point B? And so I want to credit the work of the staff at the URA who really put their very smart brains to work to figure out how we do this. And so a little bit more about the Neighborhood Initiatives Fund program. It was a pilot last year, so we didn't know how this was going to go. Would communities respond? Would they like the idea? Would they feel empowered by investing in this way? And there's just been an overwhelming response to that clarion call. And so what we've seen is that communities know a lot more about their neighborhoods than we do as practitioners. They know what they want, they know what they believe in, and they know how to get that buy-in that is so critical to get these things done. And so the goal was to make it easier to access those resources. It was also to ensure that there's a lot of visibility on these projects so the URA can't do it alone. You heard about a lot of the wonderful partners. We need more partners to get this across the finish line. We talk a lot about building an equitable Pittsburgh. Well, that requires where we put our money at. So is it going to be intentional or is it going to be accidental? And so the Neighborhood Initiatives Program is really about intentional investment. And so this is coming out of the second round of the NIF program. this round was a little bit different. We're also focusing on some of the COVID-19 issues that our communities have been facing. And so we are very proud to award 12 grants across 9 neighborhoods for a total of $568,000. $72,000 of that will go to the Beltzhoover School to put a roof on the building. Roofs are significant because they preserve our community assets. Without a roof, this building will continue to deteriorate. So this is a first meaningful step. And I just want to say that I'm very excited to work with the city, the Beltzhoover Consensus Group. I want to thank Jennifer and Dr. Bay for putting me in their car and riding me around the entire neighborhood and telling me what matters most to this community, because now I do my work from that lens. And I want to thank the mayor in the city of Pittsburgh for the investment today to make this possible. So without further ado, I am going to introduce to you the Honorable William P. Peduto. Come on up, Mayor.
Well, first I have to thank the Beltzhoover Consensus Group. It's easier to do projects like this when a community speaks with one voice. I often say that, economic development dollars are like a river. They flow until they hit a rock, and then they have to flow around that rock. And sometimes that means neighborhoods that don't have the ability to work together and to speak together miss out on that opportunity. That doesn't happen in Beltzhoover. In Beltzhoover, people sit down, they negotiate, and they determine what the priorities are for this community. And because of that work, and it is a lot of work, things like this are able to happen. So I just want to start by thanking the community for working together to give us a list of priorities of what needs to be done within your neighborhood. Secondly, I want to thank Councilman Kraus, because a council member gets inundated by all the neighborhoods that they are looking to be able to do projects in. And what we look for is a prioritization, something to be able to say, this is at the top of the list. We absolutely have to take this opportunity at this moment in order to make that happen. Without that type of leadership, things just stay muddled. With that type of leadership and prioritization, things get done. My Chief of Staff, Dan Gilman, my Chief Economic Development Officer, Marty Lamar, for being able to think differently about how government and community can work together. We've had numerous successes over the past few years throughout this city. In Morningside, we worked with the community group in order to create affordable housing for seniors out of an old school. In Mount Washington, we did the same thing and converted an old school that sat vacant into beautiful new places for people in the community to retire. Down in Sheridan, we worked with Joey Porter and his family in order to be able to take Holy Innocents and turn it into a campus where young people who have special needs can help to transition from childhood to adulthood and be able to do so independently while also creating a center for that neighborhood that they never had. We've been able to have success in Homewood, where we took an old school and we demolished it in order to be able to create the opportunity for an entire campus for athletics, one that will be unrivaled, not only in the city of Pittsburgh, but in the suburbs as well. And there are cases and examples in all over the city, in Larimer, where we have taken the old school and are converting it into senior housing as well, and looking at the opportunity of using the old auditorium as a 12-month food market with farmers and fresh produce coming directly in. So this is the question that I leave back to the Beltzhoover Consensus Group. What will this building be? Will it be a place where you can get medical help or food? Will it be a place where there is housing? Will it be a place for workforce development leading directly to jobs? Will it be a place for kids to come after school in order to not play athletics but learn to code What is your dream for what this building becomes? You imagine it, we'll do it. And that's what we're here to celebrate today. The first step in a journey. The first step in bringing back the anchor of this community. Now, an anchor has two meanings. An anchor is what you build around because of its strength. An anchor is what a community is based upon. You know, we're not talking about a community based around where you sleep at night, but a community that's based around having all the necessities in order to be able to thrive. But an anchor can also be something that pulls us down, something that sits vacant, something that sits empty, something that sits in disrepair. Today, we redefine the anchor of Beltzhoover, and we do it through a community process of what the next phase of this building will be for the next 100 years will be determined by the people who call Beltzhoover home.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Now I'd like to invite all the speakers back up so we can present the check to Ms. Jennifer, and then we'll have the community come up and we can take some photos if you have your masks on. So come on up. And then here, we'll do it in front of the podium.
Okay.
Mayor, do you want to?
Did I sign it?
You did.
Get up and sing. I don't know if I've ever done this giant check. We were kind of up for cash. Yeah. You just take this out of the dollar bank. There you go.